All right, welcome back to the channel. So, yeah, you can put this in the books of I told you so. Canelo Alvarez is suing Oscar De La Hoya and DAZN for $280 million for breach of contract, probably a couple other things up in there as well. And so it looks like, dude, like the love affair between DAZN and Canelo Alvarez is about to come to an end. And that ain't nothing but good business for DAZN because the contract was about the stupidest that they could have signed to begin with. However, let's talk about Canelo Alvarez suing DAZN for $280 million and Oscar De La Hoya. Because a lot of people are going to focus on DAZN. But no, it's also Oscar De La Hoya. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome to the channel. All right, man. So Canelo Alvarez signed a $360-something million contract about a year ago, 2 years ago, for 11 fights. Canelo Alvarez was going to get DAZN to, was going to push DAZN to new levels, right? All of that good old stuff. As soon as that deal was made, people, including myself, I wish I could say that I was the only one to say that, but I'm not. Bunch of other people are like, man, that's bananas. Okay, first of all, why would you pay $35 million for Canelo for any fight that he has? Because the only fights that Canelo Alvarez could ever generate that type of money for is major pay-per-view events. So it just seemed like paying Canelo Alvarez the equivalent of his pay-per-view money every fight for 11 fights was just a little bit off, okay? Because you took any incentive from him to do something that you told him to do. Now, anyway, out the gate, people thought that was a crazy contract. But everybody, a bunch of media people talking about this is the biggest contract in sports history. They're all excited, right? But now they don't want to pay up. Nor should they want to pay up. From what I can see, because it's apparent to me, or it seems to me, that DAZN was duped and Canelo was duped. And it looked to me like they were duped by Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. For the little bit of the complaint that I was able to read, this is how it went down. Canelo Alvarez, again, is not just suing DAZN. He's suing Canelo because DAZN had I'm not going to go into the specific contract clauses. I'm sure you can go find that out somewhere else. I'm just going to give you a summary of my understanding of what it said. Canelo was supposed to have an 11-fight deal for $365 million or whatever it was, and he was going to fight fighters that that could either be presented to him by DAZN or he could present to DAZN, and the approval of which, this is a phrasing, the approval of which will not unreasonably be withheld. So what that unreasonably be withheld means is that, look, you can't tell me exactly who to fight. Okay, if it's somebody that I want to fight that I think is a good sell, is a good matchup for me, that would push my career forward, right? I'm gonna put them forward to you, and you're not gonna unreasonably withhold it, right? Now that is Canelo, them offering fights to Canelo. So, but Canelo is not supposed to unreasonably withhold his approval. So, Canelo was saying though that DAZN has not made him any offers this year to fight. So there is no approval to be unreasonably withheld. So he's saying from the 2020 standpoint that DAZN has not made him a fight. That DAZN is upset with. Now, this is what it seems like DAZN is upset with, and why DAZN is like, look, man, we trying to get out of this. Now, I believe that DAZN will try to get out the contract because it's $280 million that they could spend somewhere else. But they're going to look for something in the agreement that is going to allow them to get out of it, and that's going to be some type of breach on Canelo Alvarez's part, or it could be that they could just wait him out and not give him fights because they say, hey, man, you promised this certain level of fight. Now, what DAZN is saying is that they were looking for a premium fight a year, right? But according to what these guys saying, it doesn't actually never defines what premium is in the actual agreement. And when you have ambiguity is the death to an agreement. Because if you're saying you're going to present to me some, what do you call it? Premium type of opponent. Well, what is the word of premium? What does the word premium mean? Right? Like you have to have some type of definition around that. Now, I've not seen the actual agreement, but it just seems all kind of like fluffy. So I'm like, why is all this so fluffy? Like, why doesn't it specifically say like what the particular opponent needs to have accomplished or whatever? A little bit of that, I think, comes out in the fact that Oscar De La Hoya is also named as a party to this. Because what Canelo Alvarez believes is that the real reason that DAZN is not giving him the opponents, right, for 2020 or trying to ask him to take a really, really big pay cuts is because Oscar De La Hoya, and I do believe Eric Gomez is the president of Golden Boy, promised DAZN out, and this is what Canelo Alvarez believes, either within a contract, a separate contract, or outside of the contract, which means, you know, in conversations that are taking place in the boardroom that might necessarily not make it into the agreement, right? When you're coming up with terms like premium, right? So like instead of saying Gennady Golovkin, they say premium, but what they mean by premium is they mean Gennady Golovkin. But Canelo Alvarez had no interest in fighting Gennady Golovkin. And now in 2019, so that fight didn't pop off. And even though they had Gennady Golovkin signed. So look, man, to me, it looked like this. Like Canelo Alvarez never had any intention on fighting Gennady Golovkin for personal reasons. This is whatever those personal reasons are, it doesn't matter. Those are his reasons. And he already fought Gennady Golovkin 2 times. So the fact that he said, and he said before he signed that agreement that he didn't want to fight Gennady Golovkin. But Oscar De La Hoya probably did, or at least he's being accused of, having represented the DAZN that Canelo would fight Gennady Golovkin in 2019. Now DAZN is like, look, man, you've been on contract for 2 years. This is a $365 million contract, right? You've now knocked off $90 million of it, right? So at $90 million, dude, you're going to have to give me something. And by something, I mean something premier. And by premier, I mean Gennady Golovkin, right? However, now that it's 2020, DAZN might be thinking, look, man, this Gennady Golovkin fight isn't a premium fight anymore. Gennady Golovkin looks suspect against Sergey Deverenchenko, and people don't necessarily believe that he won that fight. People thought that Sergey Deverenchenko won the fight. Right now, Sergey Deverenchenko is off on Showtime about to go fight Jermall Charlo, and if Jermall Charlo knocks out Sergey Deverenchenko, that makes Gennady Golovkin's fight with Sergey Deverenchenko look even worse. So Gennady Golovkin's not even a premier opponent anymore. So what premier opponent is out there for Canelo Alvarez to fight on DAZN if they weren't happy with the Sergey Kovalev fight? The answer to that is none, right? So essentially, Gennady Golovkin fight has been on 2 points. One, Canelo didn't want it. Number 2, now Gennady Golovkin is old and nobody really thinks much of Gennady Golovkin anymore, which is another point. Like, why is this dude still on the number? Why is he still in the top 10 pound for pound? Is he like a placeholder or something? Gennady Golovkin has not been nobody has thought Gennady Golovkin has been one of the top fighters in boxing for several years now, dude. Definitely in my opinion, since Daniel Jacobs. And then Canelo won, but definitely after Canelo 2 and the fight with Sergey Deverenchenko, that's not even a big fight anymore, man. So, you know, if I was DAZN, I would be looking to do the same thing. Like, hold on, man. Nah, I'm not going to keep, you know, we can come up to some settlement. If it's going to be $280 million, look, man, and instead of paying $280 million for nothing, maybe I can settle with you for $100 million, which is just ridiculous because you're not getting any fights out of it. But, you know, hey, sometimes you sign terrible agreements that you got to get yourself out of, right? So for DAZN, you know, kicking Canelo $100 million so that they don't have to pay another 180, letting him completely out of his agreement so that he can go sign with the PBC like he should have done to begin with. Like, dude, Canelo, that's the thing with DAZN on that, man. DAZN tried to get slick, right? They tried to get slick with Oscar De La Hoya got slick with DAZN. DAZN was trying to get slick with boxing by trying to buy their way in with Eddie Hearn, but that failed because Eddie Hearn couldn't get black fighters that are represented by Al Heyman to sign their lives away to him, right? And we saw that play out in real time, by the way. We saw that play out in real time. We'll talk about that in another video. But look, man, kudos to the DAZN for not paying up that money. And that's a smart move for them. And hopefully they can, I would try to just, hey, man, find a way to settle with them. Because, dude, even the Gennady Golovkin fight is not going to get you what you want. Like, Gennady, he could agree to sign Gennady Golovkin tomorrow, man. And then a fight between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin would be in December. Dude, nobody's going to care because Gennady Golovkin is washed up. And first of all, neither him nor Canelo were as popular as HBO and the media that is paid by them ever put him out to be. But now with the time distance on it and the Canelo Alvarez steroid allegations, no, man, not allegations, suspension. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. We'll see how everything plays out. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.